What is inheritance? Inheritance allows us to create a new class from an existing class and inherit all the attributes and methods of the existing class. So the base class that's being inherited from is the parent. Will have all the attributes and methods that the child class will inherit from. So the child class inherits behavior from the parent class. Let's create a weapon class that inherits from the item class we made in the last video. So up here you can see we have an item class. This is the header, and this is the source file for the header for the item class. So let's create a new file. Call this weapon.h. And the first thing we want to do is include the header for the item class. Include double quotation marks, and we'll put item.h. And down here, we'll create our class. So we'll say class weapon. And to inherit from item, we use colon public, and then the name of the class we want to inherit from. So that's item. Now give it a body, and we'll give it an access specifier. So we just say public. And the one variable our weapon class will have will be damage, because it's going to inherit all the variables from the item class, such as name, description, cost, and weight. So we've got float, damage, and we'll give this up here a constructor called weapon. We'll give this a parameter for the damage. So we'll say float damage. Now create the source file for the weapon. Weapon.cpp. And we include the header for the weapon. So we say double quotation marks weapon.h. Now we want to implement the constructor for the weapon. So we put weapon colon and weapon again, because that's the constructor, and it takes a float called damage. Give this a body, and this is where we set our damage. So we say damage equals damage. If you have a constructor that takes no parameters on the parent class, it will be called automatically. In our case, item does have a parameter, it has a name, so we must call the parent's constructor and pass it a name. So let's use the initialization list. We do that up here. We put colon, we put item, parenthesis, and in here we could put our custom name, but we don't want to do that. We want to use the name that's passed in. We need to go to the header, make changes to the constructor, and we'll say we'll put our name variable here. So we say std string and pass in the name. Now we can go back to the source file and make that change here as well. So say std string name, comma. Then come over here and we can put in the name as the parameter. So just so we're clear, this is calling this constructor on the item, and this name is that name. Parent class has a method called use. So what we want to do is set it to be virtual, and then we can override that method and implement it to perform our own custom behavior. So let's come to our items header, make this a virtual method. So we put virtual. Basically, what happens here is by default, it will use this method here, which is this method implementation. It will print to the console the name of the item was used by the player, but we don't want that on our weapon class. We want to override it. So that's where we put virtual, meaning it can be overwritten. So in our weapon class, we can say void use. So that's the method from the item class, and we want to override that method. Now in our weapon source, we can come down here and we can put weapon, and we use. Let's come up here and just include our header, the IO stream, so we can use the console out. And now we can write our own custom message. So we'd put std console out, left shift operator, damage, left shift operator, and inside double quotation marks, HP damage was done. Terminator. Let's make a sword. So back in our main file, let's add a header for the weapon. Hashtag include inside double quotation marks, select our weapon, and down here we're gonna, for our data type, weapon, and we'll name this sword, and we'll assign it a weapon. And in here we have to put two parameters. First one is the name, sword, and our second parameter, as it says up there, is damage. So we'd say this gives 25 point damage. And inside the main, we'll take our sword and use. Now, if we run the console, we can see now that our sword has overridden the use method of the item and is putting its own custom behavior in. So it's saying 25 HP damage was done. If you have any questions about anything I mentioned in this video, please feel free to leave a comment below. I hope you found this video helpful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.